Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome back to Journey into the Present, Episode 3, Multilocations. During my journey into living more presently, one of the challenges I faced was how to reconcile living my life more presently with the need to ensure I have adequately learned my lessons from the past and sufficiently have planned for the future, all while staying present. At first, this seems like a little bit of a paradox and a real challenge, and it's one I still work on till today. Allow me to elaborate a little bit more. If I'm successful in living in the present, that simply means I am no longer worrying about what happened in the past, and I'm not fearing what will happen in the future. However, during my journey, I have learned that simply thinking about the past or planning for the future isn't necessarily out of sync with my current goal of living more presently. For example, if I perseverate on an idea or a thought from the past, let's say judging myself for not knowing better about a situation, and I do so without intent, structure, or purpose, that mostly leads to feelings of anxiety, stress, and suffering. However, if during the course of my day I do come across a familiar situation, it's part of our human design to recall the past and ideally utilize that experience to aid in our decisions in the present. And this is where the hard work truly begins. What I began to learn is what I thought was a good instinct was actually associating current situations, which may have had some similarities to the past, and it was causing me to make decisions almost entirely on previous information that may or may not have been applicable to my current circumstance. So, my mind would simply grab the closest analog and apply it. That led me to some less than desirable decision making. For me, that was, in one case, staying in a place far too long from a career perspective and staying in a relationship for far too long, both of which had impacts on my health and my quality of life. In contrast, living more presently, I began to gather information anew in the moment and then make decisions based only on the only time that actually exists, which is now. This has already led me to uncover new information that my initial impulses or thoughts would have gotten wrong simply based on past information. By being present, I gather more information, I have better context, and hear more about being present because I'm able to take it all in. And so after the encounter, then is the time to take the new information and utilize prior analogs. Doing this has enabled me to remain present and utilize the past for what it's meant for, which is learning, not living. Now, this doesn't mean you throw away common sense. If you're walking down the street and you come across a dark alley and there's no lights, and you get a feeling that I maybe shouldn't walk through that passage, probably a good idea to utilize that analog, as it's human instinct to protect yourself from unnecessary harm. So there's no need to gather new data in those types of moments. However, those types of moments are truly few and far between. So how about the future? How can this connect and apply? Well, in my journey, I've found that the future can be very alluring. Simply, or similarly, if you spend your time there, you can't be fully present, and reduces your ability to enjoy life itself. This hit me particularly hard with my career. I spent the first 20 plus years so focused on what was coming next that I now have all these awards, but the memories are fleeting. It's not because I wasn't happy or I'm not happy to achieve these goals. It's because I did not enjoy the process as much as I could. I wasn't present in all of those journeys. If I finished a great big project, I would say, great, what's next? Achieved a major award? Awesome, how do I get another one? This isn't to suggest that there's anything wrong with ambition or the drive to continue to excel. But believe me when I say you'll have regrets if you're not truly enjoying the present all the way through. The best, most memorable times in my mind are when I've impacted someone's life personally. There are no awards or recognition for that, but there is the pure joy of the process and living in the moment, knowing that you've been able to help someone else. That's really where it's at for me. And so similarly in the past, I've figured out I can't be in two places at once. I have to do so with intent. So I've also learned, obviously, that future planning is incredibly important. But when I think about the future, I'm doing so with intent, structure, and purpose. When I'm researching what I need to do, making my schedules, the connections, all of the arrangements, even though I'm planning for the future, I'm living in the present because I'm actively working on it. But once I'm complete, I have to stop thinking about the future and focus on whatever is present in that moment. This has enabled me to stop working through the night, enjoy my time with my kids more fully and completely, and it's helped me to reduce burnout and fatigue. All of those were symptoms of not living present. But if you would have asked me at the time, I would have told you those were symptoms of I was working too hard, I was this or was that. It was always on me, and it was always within my ability because I wasn't living presently. And so they're all in your control as well. There's so many things in this world we don't control, but choosing to stay present is one of the things we absolutely control. As Eckhart Tolle says, you cannot find yourself in the past or in the future. The only place where you can find yourself is in the now. So my advice about being in 2 locations at once, at least simultaneously, it's actually really not all that possible. There's only the now. So how do you do it? Well, as I said, I'm a work in progress, but here are some of the things I utilize to remind myself. Worrying about the future is based on predicting what will happen. This means the majority of what you think will never happen and is actually not a great use of your time. So know that and bring your mind back to the present by focusing on your breath. If you're finding yourself going into the future without structure and intent, think about the amount of time you spend worrying. Then get to work in the present, utilizing how you could utilize that time for something else more productive, something else that you enjoy, living in the now. And number 3, accept your past as if you chose it. Good, bad, all of it. To be truly happy in the now, you have to accept how you got there, especially since you have zero ability to change it because it already happened. So I hope these tips are helpful for you. They've been very helpful for me in my journey to the present, and I hope you'll join me on next episode in Journey into the Present.